Hi, welcome to this channel. I want you to be rich. Today we're going to touch on one of the most used index in the world, the Nasdaq Composite. My name is Lee. I teach about investing, money, and personal finance. So what is one of the most followed stock market index in the world and why is it important? Today we're going to talk about the Nasdaq Composite. And it is one of the most popular indices used by traders around the world, as well as retail investors who wants to track the Nasdaq. And it is comparable to S&P 500 as well as the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which I have done in another video. So the Nasdaq Composite is not to be confused with the other one that's called the Nasdaq 100. Nasdaq Composite is the third most used index in the world after the S&P 500 and after Dow Jones Industrial Average. It focuses on technology sector, and I'm going to go through some of the companies it follows and how it affects your investment and how you can actually get into investing in the Nasdaq Composite Index. So it focuses on information technology sector, and the calculation is based on a weighted index, so meaning the closing price times the index weight. So unlike the Dow Jones, which only take the share price, it is very similar to the S&P 500, except that it's technology focused. And one of the big difference is that it was launched in 1971, so it's a much younger, has less history, more modern index compared to the S&P 500, and definitely compared to the Dow Jones. The Dow Jones were started 120 years ago, whereas Nasdaq was started in 1971 when Nasdaq was launched. Nasdaq Composite was started with a base value of 100 points the very same year, 1971. So there's not a lot of history with Nasdaq Composite, but it gives you a very good idea of technology focused stocks. And it is very important to note that unlike the S&P 500, the Nasdaq allows non-United States based company to be included. So it means for me personally that is a lot more risk, because I only invest in United States based company. I don't feel there isn't it's necessary to invest outside of that. So remember, if you are investing in the Nasdaq Composite, a fund that tracks that, you could be investing in companies that has exposure outside of the United States. That also means that if you are interested in investing things that are based outside of the United States, the Nasdaq Composite might be something that a fund that tracks that might be something that you want to look at. So that's one of the big differences. The other thing is that is it exclusively Nasdaq stock. I think back in 2004 or something they allowed dual listing stock, but now as of today, as we're speaking, you gotta be an exclusively Nasdaq listed stock to be included in the composite. And we're talking about over 3,000 stocks. So unlike the Nasdaq 100 only including 100 companies, or the Dow Jones Industrial Average that includes only 30 companies, S&P 500 that only include United States based companies, the Nasdaq Composite has over 3,000 stocks and can include non-US based stock. I will include a link below to tell you what are some of the breakdowns of the Nasdaq Composite and what are the companies included inside. So click on the link below if you're interested to find out more. So how is the Nasdaq measured and how it started? Like I said, it started with 100 points and it's measured in points. As of today, 2022, we're reaching 14,000 points. So it started at 100 points and it's 14,000 points. I'm going to highlight some of the interesting, significant events in the Nasdaq so that if you are tracking the Nasdaq, you will remember some of these historical events because history repeats itself. The Nasdaq Composite rose 400%. So if you have if I put in $100,000, it would have become $400,000. And this is during 1995 to year 2000, and that's the crazy.com. So crazy.com bubble, meaning it burst. So it went up 400%. But from year 2000 to 2002, it dropped 78%. So a lot of people lost money during the dot-com bust, and they swear off investing in the stock market. So it's very interesting to see, if you concentrate your investment in something, you got to look at the fundamental value investing. What are you investing in? How much asset this company has? How much free cash flow this company has? How much cash reserve this company has? And what kind of business is this company in? Is the product sticky? It's included in some of my other videos on value investing and how Warren Buffett invests, because you don't want to be in a 1995 dot-com bubble again. And it's very easy if you read the books below, links on Warren Buffett and how he invests, as well as Benjamin Graham. I strongly advise you give it a read. It really helps you to understand what is value investing, and it saves you from losing your hard-earned money. And number 2, I want to touch on 2020, when the stock market went up by 43%. And let's not forget, in 2003, we have the bankruptcy of Lehman Brothers, a financial institution. And on the day itself, it went down 3.6%. So these are some very significant events in Nasdaq. And what are some of the companies that Nasdaq includes? So the companies that Nasdaq include is Apple, Facebook, Netflix, so a lot of technology companies. But people also forget that the Nasdaq Composite also include healthcare and consumer services. And these are some of the companies that are healthcare and consumer services, because in fact every company now is a technology company. Every company now uses a lot of technology and is going inside. So you might want to ask, how do I actually invest in the Nasdaq Composite? Because if you're interested in putting some of your money, or if your fund manager is asking you to put some money in Nasdaq, or if you are just curious to know which are the funds that tracks the Nasdaq, one of the fund that I found online that invests in and tracks the Nasdaq Composite is Fidelity. So Fidelity is one of the well-known brands in the United States, and they have a fund that tracks the Nasdaq. If you're interested, the link is below. So the Nasdaq Composite Index, again, is different from S&P 500. It's very focused on technology. It's a lot more modern and younger. It doesn't have a history like S&P 500. It doesn't have a history like Dow Jones. It is not like the New York Stock Exchange. It's very, old and regulated. The Nasdaq is your younger brother who's modern. It has lots of technology stocks like Apple, Tesla is listed on Nasdaq, and the Nasdaq Composite tracks this company. So yes, this company are up and coming, but think about the risk, because a lot of these companies may be just up and coming. They might not have the fundamentals. Look at what Warren Buffett says during his annual general meeting about these companies and what he invested in. In my other video, I talk about what Warren Buffett invested in and the reason why. And one of those companies that he invested in is in the Nasdaq recently. He's not a technology fan. He doesn't invest a lot in technology because he said it's not in his circle of competence. So before you make an investment, ask yourself why, and ask yourself if you have understood some of the financials. I'm going to include the financial statements of some of the companies that is included in the Nasdaq Composite. If you're interested in advancing your learning more or understanding a little bit more, or if you have invested in the Nasdaq Composite or one of these companies, you might want to just click on it and have a look at the financials. It might look very complicated to you, or it might be very easy, but take a look and see what's inside. I don't find financial statements very user-friendly, but in my other video, I explain what is price to earning ratios, assets, and it might help you to just start to get a look at how financial statements look like and why Warren Buffett runs through them and why he looks at the annual report. The financial statements also help you understand who is at the management, who is managing these companies, and what are some of the numbers. One of the numbers that you can look at in the Nasdaq Composite company is how much cash they have. A lot of these technology companies in this year have accumulated a ton of cash, and that is a very good reserve to have in case of the company losing money or they need cash. So have a look at some of the links below. If you like this video, please subscribe. Thank you. Have a nice day.